The most Muslims netizens who love Islamic history will definitely know that their Islamic civilizations once reached its golden age, especially in the field of science. However, some don't know how Muslims were able to achieve that and how they were able to obtain ancient scientific texts from ancient Greco-Roman, including from ancient India, China, and Persia. So in this video, I will tell you how Muslims were able to reach their golden age with a center of science and culture at the time in Baghdad. Before Islam became a new power, in the Middle East, there were two great empires that fought each other for centuries, namely the Eastern Roman Empire and the Sassanid Empire. In 632 AD, after the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ died, the Rashidun Caliphate began to stand and rise, where this caliphate was led by four companions of the Prophet, namely Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar bin Khattab, Uthman bin Affan, and finally Ali bin Abi Talib. The four caliphs gradually began to expand their territory and began to conflict with the two great empires in Mesopotamia, namely the Romans and the Sasanians. The Islamic military at the time was highly respected and even became a very feared force in the East, especially during the leadership of Khalid bin Walid, one of the legendary military commanders of Islam who never lost in war and battle. The victory in this conquest also gave the Muslims many territorial areas that they controlled, thus also helping in the process of spreading Islam in the conquered areas. In addition to gaining a large area, the Muslims also obtained a lot of war booty, and one of the most valuable and very influential for Islamic civilization several years later. The booty was an ancient Hellenistic manuscripts on science, literature, and culture by ancient Greco-Roman scholars. These manuscripts were obtained in cities that were once under the control of the Byzantine Empire, such as the cities of Nablus, Sebastian, Diospolis, Emesa, Jerusalem, Antioch, which are in the area that is now part of Syria and Palestine. Not only ancient manuscripts from ancient Greco-Roman, but Muslims also obtained literary manuscripts from ancient Persia after successfully defeating and conquering the Sassanid Empire troops in the Battle of Hodeidah in 636 AD and the Siege of Ctesiphon in 637 AD. The Umayyad Caliphate was founded by Muawiyah I in 661 AD after defeating Caliph Ali bin Abi Talib, and Muawiyah I officially became the fifth Caliph. He then moved the capital from Medina to Damascus and used Assyrian troops to expand Arab territory. It was during the Umayyad era that translations began to be carried out because at that time, many people spoke Greek in the Caliphate region. But unfortunately, the development of translation of Greco-Roman scientific texts had not developed significantly. However, the rise of the Umayyad Islamic Empire provided the backdrop and condition in which translation continued to flourish. The Arab Conquest before and during the Umayyad period had spread to Southwest Asia, Persia and Mesopotamia, and Northeast Africa, and were a major factor in the Greco-Arabic translation movement. These conquests united a vast territory under the Umayyad Islamic State, and in effect connected previously isolated peoples and nations, securing trade routes and increasing agricultural and material wealth among the people. This newfound regional stability and unity under the Umayyad dynasty had a major impact, with literacy rates rising in the population and educational infrastructure expanding throughout the empire. For example, the Syriac-speaking Christian communities in Syria and the Greek-speaking Hellenistic Christian communities in Iraq and Iran began to assimilate and adapt to the structure of Islamic society. These Hellenized communities play a significant role in supporting the growing institutional interest in secular Greek learning among the Muslims. The movement of translating Greco-Roman texts into Arabic progressed during the Abbasid period, because at that time, the Abbasid caliphs, especially Caliph al-Mansur, began to assign Christian scholars from Byzantium and Syria, including from Persia, to build their own translation institutions, but specifically to translate Greco-Roman and Persian manuscripts into Arabic through Syriac, because at the time, the translation of Greek manuscript into Arabic had not yet occurred progressively, and was still more towards translation into Syriac. One such influential Christian scholar is Hunayn ibn Ishaq, known in Latin as Dionysius, who was an Arab Nestorian Christian translator, scholar, physician, and scientist. During the height of Abbasid era, he worked with a group of other renowned translators, including Musa al-Nawbakti, a Muslim scholar from Persia, and Thabit ibn Khurro, a pagan scholar from Syria, who was together translated philosophical books and classical Greco-Roman and Persian texts into Arabic and Syriac. During the time of Caliph Harun al-Rashid, translation began to develop progressively, especially in the Abbasid capital, Baghdad, where at that time he built a special place as a center for education, research, and also translation and a collection of Greco-Roman manuscripts into Arabic. That place was a Baytul Hikmah, or known as the House of Wisdom. At that time, Caliph Harun al-Rashid also invited delegations of ambassadors from foreign countries, such as India and China, to the Abbasid palace and collaborated in translating their scientific manuscripts into Arabic. Since then, many Greek manuscripts have been translated by Abbasid scholars, such as the Elements by Euclid, Geographical Hypothesis and Almagest by Claudius Ptolemy of Alexandria, and all other Greek manuscripts such as Analytica Posteriora by Aristotle of Athens, Loculus by Archimedes, and the works of Apollonius of Perga. All the works that were successfully translated into Arabic would be collected in the House of Wisdom, until finally many Islamic scholars began to come to Baghdad to study all these manuscripts and then study them, research them, until they all found various new theories in philosophy, mathematical formulas, and physics chemistry calculations, modern scientific methods in the first medical world that were very revolutionary and influential in the history of development of world of science. Since the establishment of the House of Wisdom in the Baghdad and many translations of ancient Greek Roman manuscript into Arabic along with Islamic scientific manuscripts stored there marked Islamic civilization entering a new era, namely the Golden Age of Islam. Well, that's the history of the Great Translation Movement according to the Candra history presentation. If you guys have other opinions or wants to give suggestions and recommendations, write them in the comments column below.